All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, depending upon where you are here in the United States and anybody that's traveling abroad. I know we have some Academy members that we're going to try to dial in from around the world here too, because they're enjoying their leisure time. So again, thank you for making time to be with us today. We're going to begin. Oops. I'm going to try to work a couple things here, so please pardon me. For those that have not made my introduction or know, it's my honor and privilege to be serving as your Academy President for this upcoming year and to be your trail guide as we go on this amazing journey today from all the great work that's been happening year over year. We want to make sure that we are getting everyone informed with the action steps that we're going to be taking together collectively, the work that the Board of Directors has been working on, as well as all the various committees. My trail name is Artemis. Ultimately, here, obviously, one of the muse of my background of the protectress of nature and wildlife and for women. So I do appreciate that. And as we go through this process, each of you may end up with your own trail name that you've either been named as you're out in the outdoors or as we go through this experience together. But the whole purpose is that we have fun and we're working on this collectively. For today's agenda, just want to give some highlights here, and everyone should have been able to pick this up in advance of the meeting on our base camp. But we're going to share with you about the Apex Ascent, which is our strategic plan, the work that's been mapped already. But this is not an absolute, meaning that there is going to be time for conversations in our campfire circles for you to share your thoughts and ideas so we can continue to refine this work. But I can assure you the work that's been put into this has been a long time coming, and it is building upon all the great work from the past to go forward. And then we're going to have an opportunity to share what comes out in your campfire circles, and then we'll go into what are the next steps on the horizon and on the landscape for the year ahead, what's involved, and how to get involved. So just a little bit of back history here. Everyone knows, as all organizations do, we have mission, vision, and values. And our mission, of course, is very strong. It's what we created ourselves around, was to be an academy of distinguished practitioners and educators. And so that we are working through that research and professional development and using of best practices. We've had a vision to inspire, influence, and advance the parks and recreation profession. And of course, the values that we hold that guide us and hold us to task, it is what our decisions, how it relates back to our mission and our ethics. And so we've had leadership that we're impactful, we're innovative and progressive. And the newest of our values is a sense of belonging, that we support our justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and actively are creating those safe and secure and supportive environments, not only within the academy, but across the country. We did have a pledge that was created as new members come on that commit to this work. And so I'm just sharing that with you now that you're all familiar with. And so that's been put into practice. So as you know, you joined the Academy, you've been nominated to the Academy, you've been with the Academy for a very long time. That was one of the questions on the engagement survey. And for many of us had been involved for so long, it's like, well, I don't know how many years I was first inducted into the Academy. And then we have new Academy members that are just finding our way. And so it's really important understanding of who we are and that we're orientating new members or fellows into the Academy so that we're aligned because this is an amazing place to be. And I am so honored and privileged to be shoulder to shoulder, working hand in hand, and to be reaching those new heights that we're going to do together. So the Academy was built on a strong foundation of the past of many leaders that came together to create us. And so these are some faces you may or may not be familiar with, but these are just a sampling of some of those trailblazers from the early years. From Frank, and I hope I don't mess this up, Jane, so help me, Vidic, as I'm pronouncing that correctly, director of Kansas City, Missouri. He convened the first meeting of the American Academy for Parks and Recreation. Mary Grogan, who was a director, a founding member of NRPA, as well as the California Park and Recreation Society. Pauline DeGranges, who was a director in San Diego, California, founding member, and then, of course, Richard Trudeau out of East Bay Regional Park District of Oakland, California, are founding members. But they saw that there was an important place. NRPA was created as it through its transition, but the Academy had a really historic place to play and could advance the work of professionals, those that were leading, and to really do something meaningful. And over the years, the Academy was shaped and guided by several trail guides, professionals that picked up the effort to help coordinate our work. And we pay tribute to those of the past and where we are currently. So Bob Tolson from Champaign Park District, he was the first Academy's executive director, and we're giving him the name of our foundational rock. And he served until 1997. Of course, John Potts out of the Champaign County Forest Preserve District then took the reins, and he served as our executive director until 2009, and he helped shape the Academy. So we're calling him our shaping rock. And then Rich Grodsky out of the Elmhurst Park District in Illinois, again, served until 2015, and we are calling our keystone, set that work for us to go forward. And that leads us up to where we are today. Our current executive director is Jane Adams, and she is retired from the California Park and Recreation Society, and she's our stepping stone. She's been that place that we're launching from to go forward, and has been an inspiration to really work and build us to take it to those next heights. So we thank them for the leadership that they've had over the years. When we look back at the milestones that the Academy has gone, we have done some amazing things together, all which could not have been possible solely. And we've brought things, and as the sustainability team and task force worked on this past year, we looked at the areas that we were incubators, the Academy being the places where ideas and innovations started, and then they were launched. And either we maintained things on our side and we maintained and kept them, or we transferred them over to another organization to have them take flight, and then they were responsible for maintenance. So again, created back in 1980, when 29 members got together to establish the Academy, the bylaws in 1981, and really on a time frame not too long ago. The Journal of Park and Recreation Administration was Sagamore Publishing was in 1983. Our Hall of Fame, working with NRPA, was presented in 1986. And then the CAPRA, the accreditation process, the beginning to develop that program, occurred in 1987. In 1993, the Commission for Accreditation was established. And then our foundation, the Academy Foundation, was created in 1994, and that was created now the American Park and Recreation Foundation, created to be the philanthropy partner of the Academy to raise funds to help us do additional work like scholarships. And now we have the POTC Scholarship as one example that their funds go to support. The externship program, very popular. We have many former externs with us today, many externs that have become Academy members. It's been that incubator to grow the field. That was initiated in 1995. And then in 1996, the Honorable Cornelius Emery Pugsley Medal was transferred from the National Park Foundation, and we still lead with that program. For those that have attended our Academy dinner at our annual conference during NRPA, we honor those that have had conservation service and have done amazing work with this honor, also with the Davey Tree Company. And then in 2004, the National Gold Medal Program was transferred from the National Recreation and Park Association over to the Academy. And so we've been managing it since that time. In 2004, there was an ad hoc diversity committee that was created. Again, understanding that in order to be relevant and to be impactful, we needed to be representative of the communities that we serve across the nation. And so this committee helped develop the work and became a part of us. In 2009, expanding that with our urban directors, again, knowing that there was an opportunity that we were missing, and many of our urban directors coming to leadership in various ways and maybe not necessarily through traditional paths, but we wanted wisdom and knowledge to be with us. 2012, we welcomed the first time that the armed forces were acknowledged with the National Gold Medal Award program. 2015, our mentoring program, and then the 21 to 2025 was the need to review with the Sustainability Task Force. And that is what has led us to where we are today. Is you look at all these amazing accomplishments that have occurred since our creation. What's next? And what's next is really going to be up to all of us to have those next milestones, those ascents that we're going to be taking as the Academy goes forward. So for those that were at the Academy annual meeting, I did talk a little bit about, our rocks and not a box of rocks, but a mason jar of rocks. And we're building on this theme, all in fun and jest, but ultimately we had a really solid rock start. 40 years, we celebrated an anniversary for us. And then in 2021, coming right out of COVID, we brought in Totem to kind of take a look and to say, what are we doing? What's the next big thing? And there were a lot of ideas and thoughts that came together with action ideas, but how is this going to translate? And so that's what led into all the various work of the Sustainability Task Force and the several leadership of many presidents, Janet Bartnick, Tracy Crawford, Cindy Sullivan, and then onto myself here to where we are with the Ascent ahead. So Apex Ascent, and it's about elevating the climb and defining the peak. And when we think about Apex or the name of this work, if we look at the Academy's branding, naturally it is a triangle, it's a mountain, it's the top of that apex, the summit. And so it really worked with that alliteration to play off on the theme of why this is important and how that it can be aligned. Today's program, we're going to have several trail guides that are going to lead you through the various next steps as we go over the plan. The board of directors are playing a role and they approved the plan back before we went into NRPA for our annual meeting. We have had the amazing work, and I cannot thank them enough, from the Sustainability Task Force that Michael Calvert, Robert Armistead, Janet Bartnick, and Michael Klitzing all year, and Jane also served on the task force that helped us really dive deep into a lot of work. We talked with various members, leadership areas, reviewing data and reports, which is all available. If you've not read it yet, it is available to you out in Basecamp. So all the attachments, all the nitty-gritty, dirty detail is all there for your reading pleasure. We will also, after today, we will have this PowerPoint available for you out at Basecamp as well. And then others will be leading with some of the new initiatives that you'll be hearing about, which we're really excited about. At the Academy meeting, in the picture here to the left is my oldest son, Chris Kessler. I talked about him and his journey. He left on Earth Day to go hike the PCT, took a leave of absence. Big idea, a big, bold move, and he did it because he felt it was really critical to connect to these wonderful places that we have before they were lost. As an advocate for these places that we love and protect, the acorn doesn't fall too far from the tree, and I'm very proud of him. But he did accomplish, I told you, I was heading right out of NRPA to head back to Washington to pick him up on the trail. And he completed 5 months exactly on September 20th. He finished his journey 5 months and very successfully made it out all the way to Canada. So again, it's possible. And we're going to do some big, amazing things too that we don't think are possible. I just also want to give a shout out to all of the leadership that has been actively involved. We had a leadership team meeting on Monday. The days all start to run together here. And they are jazzed, they're enthusiastic, they're leaning in, they're involved on Basecamp, they're setting up their group for all of those individuals that have stepped forward to join a committee group and get your assignments on our engagement survey. Thank you. I just want to acknowledge all of the work that they've been doing. I also want to share that as you receive the committee assignments this year, and we talk about the big rocks, we labeled them into versus just silo committee structure, but we placed them into these rocks, which we have our 4 rocks, which we'll hear about: innovation, preparing future leaders, support and socializing research, acknowledging our stewards and doers, and then our operating groups that are taking care of a lot of the business that we need to because we're small staffed and we need to share the workload if we're going to take off and do the things that we wish to do. And then, of course, our foundation operates with us side by side. So thank you for your leadership. These are your leaders, and their information can be found as well up on Basecamp and on our website. With new orientation, we developed kind of this placer of how does the academy work? And so we start again with the apex at the bottom, and that is who we are, that supports all of our work. And it's the fellows and members that hold the base and direct us. And so we stand on your shoulders to help, and you elect your board of directors. And your board of directors, then we appoint that leadership team who we just went over, and then all the various committees that are doing our work that are part of this apex plan. And then we have our officers, and then myself as the president, working with the executive director and our management association. Our membership structure, as everybody's familiar, we have our practitioners, we have our educators, our urban directors, and then with a bylaws vote that you'll be receiving shortly, a new advocate member. The board is approved to change and amend our bylaws. Thank you to Dina Trunzo and for leading those efforts, and everybody on the bylaws committee last year for bringing it forward. So if you approve this, this will allow new members and to increase our membership total. And then, of course, our emeritus members that are engaged, and I just want to throw out, because this is one of the things that the Apex plan talked about, is that many emeritus members, they're unsure that they may feel that they're taking the place of another member, and that's not the case. Our emeritus members do not take a seat of our other active members, and emeritus members, depending upon their time, even though they're retired, we have many retired emeritus members that still want to give back and provide in some way, whether that be serving on a committee, maybe they have a superpower, or maybe they want to just assist financially and helping with our foundation or in some other way. So thank you for being involved. The Academy had listening sessions. So when we started this process back through the various phases, we looked to, in essence, in what we heard from the totem review and what occurred during those three phases is that we're here to provide service for the profession. And we need to start and pick it up and do that. We needed to remain relevant, and that means we need to change. We need to be investing in those future leaders. And we need the permission to be different. Many of us are coming from educational institutions. We're coming from local public sector. And the opportunity for us to not have to follow the same protocols that we may follow in bureaucracy when we work for government, we can be bold. And we can do things that we necessarily may not be able to do within our organization. So we need to challenge ourselves to do that. And how we define ourselves going forward is how we're going to be defined by the work that we do. So it's critical that we have some big steps, some big climbing holds that we're going to take forth, because that's how we're going to define ourselves. And that's all up to us. Impact plan that President Sullivan led during her tenure, and there were many things that built upon that. It started the work. And so thank you to everyone and all the leadership from the past year that took care of this, because there were many things that were accomplished that are now put into action and has now presented the place to where we are today with the Apex plan. We talked about the rocks. And so, again, our rocks are the areas of big focus, and we need to put those in our prioritization first, put those in the jar, and then we can add all the other things that come on top. And if we do it correctly and we focus on those areas and not get distracted by the other things that do capture our mind, then we're going to be able to accomplish a lot more and fill more in the jar. So that was the guiding framework that the Sustainability Task Force used as we went through the process. Again, the image that you saw, we had bookmarks that we gave out at the Academy. We're using this imagery, again, just to help bring it home, we've organized all of the committees into these various four rocks, and we did make a change. We did get feedback. We incorrectly labeled, and I don't like labels, but we incorrectly placed our Legends Committee under the acknowledging of stewards and doers. And I appreciate their outreach that shared to say, it has been labeled incorrectly, and we need to realign that. And so we have placed them appropriately under preparing future leaders. And that is really what the intent of the program was when it was initiated. It's not about the award. And one could say in many of these areas, even though you're under a particular area, it crosses over into many areas, meaning that you may not need to stay within your own area. There's going to be a lot of cross-pollination that needs to happen, that should be happening. And as we have a small and mighty academy, that we need to work and blur to do some of these things together and maybe think about going forward how we can begin to socialize and not necessarily be so focused on former structure of the past, but work in a more agile environment that is going to allow us to take it to that next level. So I'm just going to run through these again. It'll be on the slide deck. You're all familiar with the various programs that we already have as our various committees because you've signed up with them and our leaders. Each of those groups have assigned project boards on Basecamp so they can communicate with one another and take care of all the actions that they wish to achieve for the year. And they're off and running and doing amazing things already, with many things coming up to the board for consideration already for the upcoming year. We also have many partners that help us facilitate the work that we do here at the Academy, because we need more than just financial support, but building, if we're going to reach that next summit, we need their assistance to use their superpowers, their skills to take us to the next level. And so one which you'll hear about with the Conversations That Matter, we've brought on a new partner. Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Jane, for your outreach with the USTA, but the USTA has come on as a new partner. We've also lost two partners, Sagamore, Eppley on the apiary newsletter, and then Williams Architects and Associates for the upcoming year on the externship program. And we are looking at, again, identifying new partners that can join us to help and support. So if you know of agencies, organizations that you believe would be a good fit for these programs or other work, please let us know, let Jane know, and you'll hear a little bit more in the program this afternoon about how we're going to help cultivate those relationships and to bring on new partners. I also want to give a shout out to our foundation. Thank you for those that have given. I did do a outreach they did for Giving Tuesday and their work. And I believe, if I'm correctly, I don't know if Chris is on and Jason, but I believe you said that numbers are up. So again, great news. Okay, one of the for the sustainability team, and then we're just going to turn it over so they can lead this stuff. I'm just going over a lot of back history here. We reviewed a process using, you have likely seen this before, on value versus effort, as we looked at where the Academy, where we were spending time on our activities, how we're going to spend our money and where we're going to focus. And so we placed everything, we scored everything to areas that were the quick wins in that first priority category, easiest to complete and to focus. And then really wanting to make sure that we are spending time and our energy on those areas that are in that second priority box. These are things that are going to take more time to make them happen, but we need to start working on them. But the efforts, if we can place our energy and focus on those areas, they will have the highest return for the Academy and achieve the best success. So we want to spend our time there. If areas are not taking much time, but they're not doing us any good to advance our work, then those are just going to be placed out in the meadow, and maybe we'll revisit if something changes into the future. But we just can't be moving off where our focus is. And if anything is on that avoid defer, we just need to delete it and deprioritize and shift it and move on. So that is how we used as the sustainability team worked forward through the year. And we heard a lot of different things. And so this is all in the report, which we're going to talk about, but where we needed to focus on membership, impact of higher education, what was happening in the institutions and future leaders, how we were organizing ourselves with operational insight and building the academy for the future, so that we are sustainable, how we're allocating our resources, how we collaborate with the various programs, and how we're most importantly going to shape this profession and inspire and innovate. So that led us to 5 areas. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be turning it over to members of the board of directors as well as the sustainability team to lead us through the various 5 areas. And what we came up with was innovation, membership, resources, promotion, and infrastructure, and all about inspiring, influencing, and advancing. So with this, we've got what we're calling summit anchors with the objectives. This is a 3-year plan, but it's something that should have a longer lifespan than 3 years. But it should be placed that we can go back to this, we can communicate, we can have a dashboard with metrics to show how we're going to achieve these areas, focused on those 4 rocks, areas of the summit anchors, which are our objectives, and then getting to climbing holds that all align with our mission and vision. So with that, I'm going to turn it over for our first Apex Ascent background to Stacy Anaya, who is going to talk about innovation. Stacy.
Thank you, Liz. I appreciate it. Honored to talk today. Talk a little bit about our objective innovation and shaping the profession, and how we really make sure that our members have access to and are influencing research trends, our big practices, making sure that we're facilitating collaboration between practitioners and our educators, and helping that lead innovation, and making sure that people see the academy as a thought leader, right? And that we convene critical conversations that are helping us identify that, leading or bleeding edge of the industry, and how we expand our networks to make sure that we have cross-sector relationships and really inspire that, organizational connection for our members too. Like, this is a working organization. It's not just about the board. It's not just about our team members or staff members. It's all of us working together to, to realize that ascent, to get to that apex. And the things that we're looking at for our climbing holds is really taking advantage of those big programs, the gold medal and CAPRA, to identify what those trends and best practices are, to really inform our strategic priorities, but also the departments that we help inspire and raise standards across the industry. We've already, and I think that's going to be taking place in FY27. We've already achieved the transition of the Career Development Task Force to the committee. Congratulations on that ascent. Later on in the process, we're going to be looking to convene annual think tanks so that we can talk a little bit about those key issues and trends, and try to produce white papers that not only help our practitioners, but they inform policy and practice and curriculum throughout those institutions of higher learning. And then how do we make sure that we expand professional dialogue by offering more webinars and structured conversations at conference between practitioners and educators, so that we're building that baseline for our students and practitioners. And then really leading to that and is going to be really important is really examining the decline in higher education programs, whether they're accredited or non-accredited in the programs at our big institutions, and how do we assess the impact that's having on our professional pipeline for young professionals, new professionals, but also for research and development. And we've kind of got those bridged. I think in 2027, 1.1, 1.4, and 1.5 are going to be our big focuses. And
Thank
then,
you, Stacy. Is that everything that you've got?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. We're going to take it over to membership, right sizing the organization. And Michael, I believe you have this one.
Yes, good afternoon, friends. Hope everyone is well. So great to see you all. Thank you all for coming today. It's been my honor to serve as the board liaison to the membership committee for the last few years, and I'm excited with Becky Benet coming in as our chair this year, as well as Michael Landlord as our vice chair, incoming chair. I also want to thank Cindy and Daryl who helped the three of us together, put together these apex ascents that you see and the climbing holds for right sizing the organization. The first thing we're looking at is expanding the membership committee to become the membership development committee. I know it's just a change in language, but it really encompasses more of what we want the membership committee to do. We're in the process of discussing that as we speak. We've heard from a lot of you all in the academy, and you asked and stated that you wanted us to look at expanding our practitioner category to include the advocate membership. I'm happy to state that the board of directors approved the bylaws last night, which will be coming to you all. I'm going to read what the new Advocate Fellow membership will be if approved through the bylaws. And I'm reading directly here. An Advocate Fellow served in a high level of administration in training, consulting, commercial enterprise, and or advocacy with for not less than 15 years of experience with a direct service benefit to the advancement of public parks, recreation, and or conservation, tourism, sports management, or related field program. So this is really for those leaders who have been in consulting, commercial enterprise, and or advocacy for at least 15 years. You asked for that. You will be seeing that coming to you all in the vote of the bylaws. So if you're interested in that, please vote for those bylaws when you see them. We're also looking to create and implement strategic targeted membership campaigns to fill vacancies. Right now, we have 21 vacancies in membership. I believe it's 12 in the educator category and 9 in the professional/practitioner. The urban directors is completely full. So once we get through the new year, you will be seeing the nominations open. We ask that you please start thinking today about those educators and or professionals that you can nominate. That way, when we open it up, you'll be ready to go ahead and put that together. 2.4, implement timely, personalized follow-up for membership renewals to address attrition. Once the new year comes around, you'll be getting emails from us to renew your membership. If you're so inclined, please do that when you get it. You'll also have the opportunity also if you want to make a donation to the foundation as well. But please, the sooner you can renew your membership, the better it is for all of us. You don't want to have Liz or any of the executive board members calling you and asking you where the membership renewal is. So please help us out by doing that. 2.5, review and refine the educator membership eligibility requirements. We had a number of listening sessions with the educators, and we have updated that already. So hopefully you'll see that, and that will translate into more educators coming and joining our wonderful academy in the new year. As Liz mentioned earlier, we're going to look at creating messaging perspectives for emeritus members to honor their service and encourage ongoing contributions. A lot of the emeritus members think that they're taking a spot up for someone else, a younger or newer professional, and that's simply not the case. So if you're emeritus, we have unlimited roles, unlimited numbers. Please re-sign up and renew your membership with us. We would love that. And then finally, we're going to be looking at two things. The first one is determining the optimal membership numbers for maximum impact. We'll do that once we get to the full 150. That's our first goal. After we get to full capacity, then we'll look at if we need to expand it. And then finally, we've heard this from some externs, and shout out to the externs that are here. I saw at least three or four on here. we're going to be looking to establish an associate membership category for the externs. We'll look at having conversation over the next year and hopefully implementing that in 2028. Again, many thanks to all of you all for being members. And Elizabeth, I will pass it back to you.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. Excellent job. We're going to turn it over to Jody now to go over resources.
Thank you, Liz. 3.0, we have resources aligned that we're going to align our resources with the results and explore new revenue sources. 3.1, we're looking to explore additional and more investment strategies for our excess funds, reserve funds, to strengthen our long-term sustainability. This process has already started. We have been working, obviously, boards before us today have been working on that, but also we've been working with our executive director and with Red Barn, our management partner. And then also on 3.2, we're going to shift the organizational culture from primarily advisory to hands-on action-oriented engagement. That has happened. Liz, I want to thank you for your leadership right here and the past board of directors and our current board of directors. We are in the midst of this and we are shifting as we speak. 3.3, identify and pursue funding diversification of strategies, and including partnerships, sponsorships, and earned income. We're already working on this, as you saw, and as Liz has mentioned, the USTA, United States Tennis Association, as a governing body, has come on board, and they will be supporting the conversations that matter, plus other endeavors. And I have already said this to many of you. Please understand, when you're a national governing body at this size and leading within the world scheme, they have many other resources, and it's way beyond the court. 3.4, identify, prioritize areas requiring administrative support. We want to make sure and continue to evaluate and make sure that we can support, like the Ascent, the Apex Ascent plan. We want to make sure that we can support all the endeavors going forward, and also the committee work that is involved here, but also has also been done in the past that we will continue on. So we want to make sure in tow with that we are aligned with our administrative support, whether it's through our executive director or our management administration, as we have had over the years with Red Barn. Develop 3.5, develop key performance indicators, KPIs, for the program's mentorship and financial health. We are working on these. We already have some KPIs, and we will be asking again for your input. This is already being distributed through various networks right now, and we will be coming to you for the full academy for you to pick up on that. And I believe, Liz, we are putting that in base camp, and we've put some of that in base camp, and we are putting more as we speak. 3.6, maintain current membership dues for 2 years in responding to member feedback and economic conditions. We heard you loud and clear through surveys and through where you would like us to go with our membership. So it's self-explanatory. Our dues will stay as is for the next 2 years, and appreciate everyone that has worked diligently to get to this point. I do want to let you know we are pursuing fast and furious other resources that are out there to support our work with this 3.0. And I want to thank our executive committee and our board of directors who have already brought forward, and we are already approaching other stewards to support us in partnerships and in sponsorships. Liz, back to you.
Thank you, Jody. Excellent job. All right, going on to 4.0, promotion, elevating our presence. Stacy.
Hi, everyone. Okay, we've got 4 climbing holds in the promotions area. The first one has actually been completed already. It was transitioning the branding and social media task force to a standing committee. So congratulations, that's done. I know the committee is working on this as well, implement a structured social media strategy that includes content planning, scheduling, and consistent posting on LinkedIn. We all know how hard it is to keep those algorithms working in our favor on social media, and this consistent planning will help with that. The third one is to provide committee oversight to ensure messaging is aligned with Academy values and strategic goals. And that just refers to making sure that our branding is on point and that what is representing us online meets our branding guidelines. And then finally, modify the management services agreement to include services for posting on social media. And that has to do with our agreement with Red Barn Communications and the division of duties between the committee and then what we want ultimately for Red Barn to do in this category for us. Back to you, Liz.
Thank you, Stacy. Excellent job. All right, our last objective here, infrastructure, organizational, and administrative insights, and that's Cindy.
And I said the other day at the leadership team meeting that this, of course, is the unsexy one, but the one that is obviously critical in any organization to have to make sure that the members, the leadership, the staff, that there's seamless transitions, that everyone knows exactly what their responsibilities are, and that new members come in seamlessly as well. And so there are 9 key initiatives here. The first one is to identify the key leadership and administrative roles with the associated responsibilities so that everyone understands what the job duties are. 5.2 is to establish emergency backup protocols for unexpected absences or transitions. We're going to skip 5.3 and come back to that at the end, and I'll explain why at the end. 5.4 is to maximize the use of existing and new tools for efficiency and to ensure that all members have adequate training. We have some wonderful tools available to us between Basecamp, Submittable, Wild Apricot, and I know I'm forgetting something. And not everybody knows how everything works, but we will. And I think the boot camps that are taking place this week have had positive experiences, and everyone said they walked away and learned something. 5.5 is to assess current administrative support structures for alignment with our mission and financial stewardship. 5.6 is to develop position profiles and knowledge transfer plans, including decision-making authority and system access. See what I mean? None of these sound really sexy compared to everybody else's. But clearly this is so that everybody understands exactly how things operate. 5.7 is creating SOPs, basically. So for all committees, and also for the officers and the board members, and for the executive director and the management company. And then 5.8 is obviously to make the SOPs available so that, post them someplace so that everyone can pull them down and use them along with the manuals that the committees have to make their work and projects flow seamlessly. 5.9 is to create a succession timeline and readiness plan. And then going back to 5.3 is then to maintain that succession planning document so that it's a living document that's always updated. And the reason that these are in the order that they are and why I skipped it wouldn't have made sense until I got to 5.9. But remember, Liz had the slide that had the 4 quadrants that talked about the value versus effort, how important something was versus how difficult it was. So these are in that order as they were ranked. And so when we did that, 5.3 came out that it would be easier to do than 5.9, although obviously we can't complete that until the plan is done itself. And back to the station.
Thank you, Cindy. Wow, 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 wow. I hope everybody's jazzed already with all of these areas of initiatives that have been identified. And again, this PowerPoint is out in Basecamp, so you all have access to that. And you also have an Excel document that has all the fun detail by each of the objectives and initiatives and some additional work with KPIs that we placed on there with some time frames. So you should all have access to that. And what we're going to do now is we are going to go and have a campfire, and we're going to break out into our various campfire circles, and your trail guides will meet you there to facilitate a conversation, get any thoughts and ideas from you about a particular area where you end up being assigned randomly and or anything else that they can capture. So we do have others that are there that'll need to take notes, and then we'll be looking for one or two key takeaway from your conversation when we come back out for trail takeaways. So you have 25 minutes. Britt, go ahead and let's send everybody off on a hike. We'll see you in a bit. Happening here. Are we all back in yet, or we're still waiting on one more?
Everyone's back.
Everyone's back. Okay. I'm going to leave this on big screen. I can't put up the specific objectives, but I think just for the purposes so we can see each other, we're going to go ahead and just do our Trailblazer takeaways here. And we've got some time dedicated just to hear one or two takeaways that you want to share out. We have 15 minutes for this. So we'll start with innovation. And who is, Bernita, are you taking this or someone else from innovation?
I might have to. She may have had to pop off because of a meeting with the city manager that got put on her schedule.
Go,
So
Stacy.
we had a really good conversation. I think one of ours was, if you remember, one of our climbing holds is the idea of examining the decline in higher education programs. And we had a big conversation about rewording that climbing hold to be instead of saying decline in higher education, to say that it's reshuffling or evolution of where our programs are at. Because if we're going to be innovative, we have to recognize things are changing and that we're likely not going back. And that in that sense, what we can do is also help create tiebacks to curriculum that our agency, our academy members can have to then advocate for curriculum that meets our standards, be integrated into that new reshuffling of programs to make sure that our thread is consistent there and sewn into it. And then really talking about how then we take advantage of the buckets of wisdom that academy members have to serve as a speaker bureau or almost like a consulting firm when we've got organizations out there that might need to tap into our wealth of knowledge to help address issues that they're facing as organizations.
Wonderful. Great. That's exactly the type of feedback we were looking to get. And others may have had some, not just other areas of feedback on these other initiatives too. So we'll make sure we capture that or put them in the chat. Going on to membership, Daryl and Michael.
Yeah, we had great conversation. Thank you to everyone that participated. We started off the conversation just talking a little bit more about that advocate category, which you'll see in the upcoming bylaws vote. It seemed like there was a lot of support for that. Then we talked a lot about social media and how can we really get our name out there as the Academy to draw some attention to us, but also kind of act as a marketing tool so people may want to become one of us. We then talked about, is there a way that we can maybe send back out the Academy logo so everyone can put it either on their LinkedIn profile or maybe on their salutation, on their emails, just to get the reach out more and more. I thought someone had a really good recommendation. Maybe we reach directly out to the state executive directors and see if they know of anyone that might be good to nominate for membership into the Academy. Just finding new ways to kind of go out and tap into people that would be amazing members but just aren't being nominated. We talked a lot about educators, and Terry was very helpful. And we had a conversation about other universities out there that we are not affiliated with, but maybe we should be. So that's something I think some of the educators may want to get together and talk about. But overall, the thing that we talk about is just we really need to make sure everyone understands that nominations start up in the middle of March and they run for about 2 months. And now is really the time for everyone to start thinking about those potential nominees, both for practitioners as well as educators. We have 21 openings, 9 for professionals, 12 for educators, and all the information is listed on the website. We will send information out, but now is the time to really start thinking about it so you don't get caught behind the 8 ball when you realize that you've run out of time to nominate that prospective member.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. All
Liz,
right.
could I add something to that
Please.
if I
Yes.
may? Thank you. If you go onto the Academy's website, under About, we have members listed by state. And it would be really helpful for you to take a look at the states where we, frankly, are a little bit overrepresented, which means we have some states that are underrepresented in terms of our membership. So please think about individuals that you know through your national network that perhaps are in states where we don't even have one member. Like, I don't think we have a member in Oregon. We have very few members up in the New England area. So please look at, we have one member in Arkansas, go Nancy Kaiser. So be thinking about those underrepresented states as well. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you. All right, moving on to resources. Robert.
Thanks, Liz. We had a great conversation with our group. A couple of things about investments, and Michael, we have a volunteer for the task force if you need one. We got a good one, and it was also mentioned about the Academy working with the foundation on investment strategies, and I know they have some of the same issues of where to invest the funds and what to do with them. Let's see. Next one on the educators, we need to get our numbers up with the educators, and it was suggested that if each educator would nominate another educator, then we could get those numbers back up. But it's important to get involvement from the educators up again. It's also suggested on membership, I guess, committee meetings, is if someone is interested in observing a committee meeting, not being a member of the committee, but if they could be invited, or if they have an interest, or invite someone to kind of see what the meetings look like and learn about a committee you may not know anything about, and just if they could just attend a meeting once in a while and just kind of see what's going on, and they may be a future member down the road. I hope I got that right, Nancy. You explained it probably much better than that. On the administrative support, one question did come up about former externs having access to Basecamp documents, and because a lot of great ideas from former externs, and also about committees working together and don't work in silos and communicating. I know the mentoring and the externs programs work closely together, but have them overlap and work closely together. Sponsorships, personal relationships are so important with those sponsorships, and we still if you have an idea of a sponsorship, please get with Jane and see what can be worked out with that. And Jody, that's all I have. Did I miss anything?
You didn't, but let me add to a couple of those. We talked about also the campfire chats, and that's of course on Basecamp, and then also in future having monthly gatherings where it's just we have topics or we show up and you can come to that. You don't have to be on a committee, but we haven't put that out there yet, but that could be in the future. And so that's down the road, but that's all with our KPIs and working through some other organizational structure. So thank you.
Thank you, Jody. Thank
Great
you,
job,
Robert.
Robert.
Excellent work. All right, moving on to promotion. And I believe here we've got Rick's not with us. Deb, do you have this one?
I was the scribe. So
okay.
Yes. So some ideas for clarification, first of all, in terms of content creation and what gets posted, for instance, on LinkedIn. The content creation is something that AAPRA members do, committee members, board members, and we also want to ensure that general members know that they can also ask questions or suggest ideas for things to be posted. All that information gets vetted by the branding committee, social media and branding committee, before anything gets posted. So that is under control, of course, and ensures that the academy branding, quality, and so forth is the same across the board. There is a schedule posted for folks to know on the All Academy Basecamp site, where they know here are the dates for posting. If you want to get something in there, you need to submit it by this date so the committee can vet it before it can be posted. We talked about how a lot of this, and I think Michael brought up something else. This whole promotion stuff relates to membership as well as to the new thought leadership kind of stuff that's coming up, and so ensuring that those are remain well connected. Um, Jill and the committee have been working pretty darn heavy, it sounds like, on the goals for the committee and establishing some action steps and so forth. So they're in draft mode on that. But as soon as they get those done, that'll be posted on the All Academy Basecamp site as well, so that people can see those, engage, know where they can participate as well. And then another idea came up that when there are whether it be articles or blogs or personal reflections or whatever it might be that our members know about, board members, general membership or whatnot, that they can post a link to that on, or again, our All Academy Basecamp site. And if that's something that, again, would be great for us to submit or to post for whether it be our profession or the general public, that the committee will vet that kind of information and then look for a way to be able to post those kind of links again, so that we get positive messaging out about the profession, that we can even create some ideas and so forth for our members to be able to share with their own organizations, but also the general public. I missed anything? Anybody there?
Thank you, Deb. Way to go. All right, last one here, infrastructure. And I believe this is Michael Klitzing.
Yes, it is. Thanks, Elizabeth. So, as Cindy kind of said originally, we had sort of the unsexy but very important foundational component, the organizational side of things. So some things that we talked about, including past committee chairs and the development of SOPs. You know, as we're trying to develop these SOPs, ensuring that we're not losing the history that those that led the committees before. I think it'll be instrumental in creating those. Identifying the core competencies of the key roles within the committees, which obviously should be incorporated within SOPs, as well as the selection of that leadership. You know, kind of reminding of my days back in Capra, needing naming nomenclature, how documents are organized, how documents are going to look. You know, that goes sort of to the templates, but how all of that fits together so that when we have a central repository of all this information, it's easy to find that information. Frequency of review for the SOPs needs to be defined, similar again to CAPRA, and appropriate tracking of changes, those type of instruments. Distinction between what is needed for general operations of committees and the library of products that those committees have. So, you know, this was sort of inspired by the legends. I mean, obviously they have a huge repository of information from the history they've collected, the videos, what have you. So you need the operational stuff. Sorry, that was my puppy. The operational stuff and also the products that our committees are making. And then, of course, the key thing for us is ensuring that we have a shared repository or member portal that truly has member buy-in for where we put all this important information. I think I hit everything of major note, but did I leave anything off, Cindy?
No, you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And for having the campfire conversation about all these ideas. And the conversations are not over. So if you've got other thoughts and ideas, go on to Basecamp, drop it into a chat, reach out to board members, reach out to your committee leadership and where you feel that will be to start the conversation. And that's key. And then we'll be continuing to work through and sift and refine as we go forward with our metrics. So very exciting. So I want to next move us into, for the remainder of the time that we have, back to basically what's on the horizon. And some of this may sound like a repeat, but just we're going to go through a very quick, fast pace of what you can expect in the next 12 months as we enter 2026. So on the critical path, you heard about membership. We want full membership on. So when membership opens, start thinking now about who can be added, who you want to reach out to, build that relationship, get that support. We want more energy, enthusiasm, and those talents with us and in spaces that are not maybe represented. And for those that know of someone, birds of a feather flock together, so to speak, let's reach out. Well, this is the group that knows people, so we should be able to be elevating, as well as many of our externs. I think they are, because that program has been going, some prime candidates once they meet that criteria to be elevated as well. And then you've got a vote coming up. So after the new year, be looking to the bylaws, get educated in what that information, we're going to present it in a way, because it is a lot of great work's been done on that, specifically to advocate members, and then also some changes relative to holding the board accountable for presence and being involved and being engaged. So be looking to that. On the critical path, we've been talking about, and you heard, increased confidence in the use of all the technology and talents that we have at the Academy, our superpowers, committee assignments, and then advocacy. So on confidence and use of technology, Red Barn has shared with us all these new tools, Basecamp, Wild Apricot, our website we've updated, trying to keep all these pieces moving, our branding and social media with LinkedIn. Submittable is that online platform where many of our groups, from everything from the Pugsley to Gold Medal to mentoring to externships to best paper, all are using that platform. And so we want to make sure that you're comfortable in those spaces. So again, we're using technology. Not all of us are as comfortable with technology, but there's many trail guides that are here to help you. And we're going to continue to move forward in reaching to make the best and become more efficient and share those resources with everybody. So Wild Apricot, just again, a plug for this one. This is what you can download on Personify. You can go to the Apple Store, the Google Store, Microsoft, and download. And that way you can go in and make sure that you're updating your information, that your phone number, your mailing address, your email is accurate, and you have full control over that. If you need help, ping, send one of us a message. We're happy to go one-on-one and help you out with that and get you on. You can also do it on your desktop version as well. And then Basecamp, everybody should be involved. We have a new All Academy Basecamp, which is new. And this is where all the communication, we're trying to direct everybody back through the system versus one-offs on emails. That way we can keep everybody in the communication link. And because now we have an All Academy board, that means we all can talk with one another. And again, we've got Basecamp boot camps going onward. With our superpowers, one of the questions that we asked everyone going in as you signed up for committee assignments of where your superpower strengths were. And this is just a compilation. We had 88 individuals of our Academy members that did respond to the survey and have selected their committees, and they've been assigned. And interesting, where our high, we're problem solvers. So this is great. We've got a lot of individuals that know how to solve problems. So we're going to be able to do that. And we've got those that are strategic, and ultimately they're doers and they're connectors. Where we're kind of missing on the lower end here is that fundraiser rainmaker of trying to raise funds. But if you did say that that is one of your strengths, we are going to be aligning you with some of the work that we have, whether that be on our foundation or ultimately working through our partnership sponsorship development. And again, so I will break this data back out as to the committee chairs and make sure that we are using the talents that we have with the Academy. But as you can see, it's lovely and it's diverse. Another shout out with NRPA is this is an easy task, and Jason Anselman serves as our link to the NRPA Advocacy Committee. I know Peter Murphy also serves, I believe, on the state executive directors for the associations, and I serve as the Academy of Past Ambassadors, Past Leadership of NRPA. But this is an easy one for everybody that can do within the next 24 hours or right after this meeting. You can go to the NRPA website, sign up, and become a park advocate. Every Academy member should be a park advocate. They want to make sure that we have our texts, our phones, so they can, when issues come out that's important to us, that we're able to take action. So please do that. And NRPA website, advocacy, become a park advocate. Okay, next steps here. And as you see some few things, you're going to see some photos and fun. And one of the areas that I've also have been identified is we lost our Flickr account. We have it, but we don't have the account when Andy Chestnut passed away. With that, we lost access to some of our past repositories. So I'm going to be working, trying to, with her daughter and family, to see if we can help do some things or reach out to them to get that back. But in the interim, I'm using photographs, and if you've got photos that you've taken, we'll get a place. We're going to set up an account so we can make sure that we have more representation than photographs that I may have had or individuals may have sent to me. So please pardon me. I'm focused on that through the PowerPoint. But succession planning next steps is we're building to last. Like good to great, we want to make sure that whatever we're doing, that it's sustainable, not just for current leadership. So you've heard about the SOPs. Those are up and coming. We've already started to work on one with sponsorship, and then we'll make an online form that the committees will be able to be tasked with. And we've got basically 18 months to 2 years to get that done. But again, we can start that work. We're going to make it real easy. Identifying, as you've heard, with sponsors and partners so we can fill the gaps. And then we will be going out after the first of the year. We've been very pleased with the work with Red Barn Communications, but we need to go forward to make sure that we're competitive for the direction and trajectory that we're on, just to kind of see our work. And so they've asked that we go out to do that. And so our board, they have moved forward. So we'll be putting that RFP together. I also just wanted to briefly update the membership with our transition, that back in 2024, the Academy did miss a 990 filing deadline, and that was for the 2023 tax year. And once it was discovered, it was filed, and there was a penalty that was paid. And we then are now waiting to hear back. Red Barn has accepted, and absorbed the penalty, and there is no fraud, no misuse of funds or any concern. It was related to a change in the auditing firm, the bookkeeping service that was doing that. So I felt that it was responsible, as did the executive committee, that we were open and transparent with the board, but we have it under control. Okay, let's see here. Sorry. How did that get there? Sorry, folks, I'm going the wrong direction here. Okay, other Ascents here for the up and coming is this cross-pollination rock alignment. So again, you've already heard about Branding and Social Media Committee, Career Development Committee is already established. One of the first initial things, we established an executive committee of the officers as allowed by bylaws so that we can work more agilely and get things and have additional meetings on some of these tasks that are in front of us. An investment task force has been assembled. Soon to be coming will be an industry council task force. And new this year is an NRPA coordination group, serving as a past president myself. Jody Adams coming in as president-elect as another past president, identifying that there are NRPA ambassadors that are on the Academy that are also past presidents of the National Association, with existing Academy members that are also currently on the NRPA Board of Directors, that this is a great group to partner and to have conversations on some of the alignment, that partnership building that can help advance our work. Again, shout out to folk kids. That's my grandkids there, future conservationists, why we do what we do. And I have to give a shout out because they're my loves in my life, as well as my son and Zorba back as he completed the trail pass. Conversations that matter, you're going to hear more about that, gold medal, technology tools, and feedback. So I'm going to now turn it over to, I keep hitting the wrong button here, and it jumps me. I'm going to hit it to Tracy to talk about our conversations that matter.
And I won't keep you long, but we are really excited. As you may know or not know, Jane, our wonderful executive director, created these conversations that matter. Jane, I want to say in 2020, maybe even before, we were having these. And it was an opportunity for us to get together and brainstorm and to really talk about the topics that were so critical to our field. We did a couple of them. Many of the committees, task forces would utilize them to talk about what was going on within their committee in that. And now they've grown. I am pleased to announce that we are unveiling the Conversations That Matter master classes. We really hope that they will deliver timely, thought-provoking, and practice shifting dialogue for parks and recreation leaders, conservation, and therapeutic recreation. The sessions are designed, this is all in Basecamp as well, to inspire, to challenge assumptions, to foster meaningful professional connections, and to provide actionable strategies. We hope that participants, how these will be different is we hope that participants will walk away with action steps. Just like today, Liz has already given us, I've had many notes on our action steps. We're hoping that every conversation that matters leads to that. Next slide. The guiding principles. We were putting these together as a pitch to our brand new sponsor, USTA, and partner. And one of the things that we discussed with our partner was making sure that we show ourselves as thought leaders. That is exactly why USTA wanted to come to the table with us, because they recognize the leadership in the academy. You're all thought leaders. And one of the things that came out in every single one of the evaluations is how can we do more of that? How can we keep ourselves relevant we're all at the table where these conversations are happening. We want to make sure we present topics that are substantial, that we're being proactive with social issues, and that we're creating space to facilitate, again, that excellent dialogue. We have got the leaders in the academy. You're the experts. So don't be surprised if I'm not knocking on your door, calling you or emailing you and asking you to lead one of these conversations that matter. We want them to be, to talk about real world examples. So we're looking for case studies and scenarios. They'll be facilitated. So there'll be speakers that will set the stage and ultimately address the question, why does this conversation matter? Why is this topic relevant? Then we'll do some breakouts where we'll talk about those things, all led by what the speaker wants us to talk about. And then we'll come back and report back, and we will end with actionable items. They will be 90 minutes. Next slide. And so far, we didn't know before if I could announce it, but now it's all official. USDA is our sponsor, which just opens the door to a huge variety of resources as well as networking that we can do as professionals and that they can do with us. This will be open to externs, to mentors, to other industry professionals, and of course to all the academy. Next slide. So our calendar, there are 6 that are scheduled for this year, 4 of which are already planned. I'm so excited. The JEDI committee has taken the first one in January. It's going to be adapting language and preserving values. Autumn Sexton Ross from NRPA we're partnering with will set the stage and kick us off with that one. That one will be January 22nd. And it will be at noon Eastern Standard Time. So work your way back, but I'll be posting that in all the different calendars and we'll be getting information out. In February, I'm pleased, in February, in April, and in September, our Research to Practice Committee has stepped forward. And they're going to be partnering again with NRPA, and we're really talking about articles and research that have been done in the pillar areas that NRPA has set aside, and talking about, again, how can we get involved? How can we take this on personally, professionally, and as an organization? In May and in July, we have USTA and NRPA. Those are open topics, so we're going to be working with them to be presenting. We've talked about things like AI, how that's affecting and, changing our field, some for the better and some things that we need to consider. We're open to what those conversations will be about. But this year we'll be rolling out 6 of them. Right now, we've got a task force of about 8, no, maybe, yeah, about 8 members. And right now we're working on our logo, getting our marketing material. So you will hear more about this. So Jill, I will be reaching out with those dates and times and sessions and all that stuff. But we are really excited. All we had to do was present this to USTA, and they were like, of course we're aboard. This is necessary, and it's right on time. So that's what I've got for you.
Thank you, Tracy. Very exciting. And thank you, Tara, and the entire committee. Onward. Gold medal. So some exciting things happening with gold medal ambassadors, and maybe Stacy, Dickie, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing with that?
Well, I'd be happy to, but I think I'll toss it over to Jane.
Okay.
This was her idea, and she's done the work behind it.
Okay, thank you, Stacy, very much. So yes, we've are launching our first ever Gold Medal Ambassador Network. So we have invited the Grand Plaque recipients for the last 3 years, so 23, 24, and 25, to designate an individual within their agency who would be willing to field questions, respond to emails, talk on the phone, help mentor and guide anyone interested in applying for a National Gold Medal Award. Again, this is a way to make the National Gold Medal Award program, more doable, if you will. I think sometimes people think it's an overwhelming task, but if an agency can talk to an agency that has been successful in receiving a National Gold Medal Award, I think it's going to be very, very helpful to all, and it's going to raise the quality of our applications, which is also another one of our goals. So I think we are going to be posting the Gold Medal ambassadors that we have signed on to date. And we're missing, I think, one category, but we're going to keep pushing and try to get another agency to sign on. So this will be available on the Gold Medal page on the Academy website.
Terrific. Thank you, Jane. And another idea that came out from the Sustainability Task Force, which is on the Apex plan, is medal mining. So looking for those gold medal nuggets that are happening, best practices that are already currently in place, and being able to bring those forward. And they may be conversations that you'll see on Conversations That Matter in further detail. They may end up in other places, but really excited about, again, getting some data and really mining that to advance the field. Moving on to base camp. For those, if you haven't been out there, everybody's been assigned. I can't keep saying it. All a member Academy board. This is big because this gives us all the ability to talk with one another. Please go ahead and get familiar with it. Navigate around. Join us in one of our boot camps. There's a few more, and we'll continue these on into the new year. Thank you for the trail guides that have joined us. Kyla, Stacy, Michael, Jane was on there. Anyone that's familiar with this, and as the leaders begin, we're here to help. And so do take advantage. They're just popping. If you got a moment, you have a question, we'll help make sure your settings are right, know how to navigate, and we'll get you ready to go. Again, there's campfire chats where there's just the ability to connect and with another fellow Academy member. Schedules of where all the events are going to be placed that we're having, so you can keep track of them and download them to get them on your calendar. That repository. So we're organizing that so they're easy to navigate. So a lot of effort, and the board yesterday at our meeting approved for us to purchase this directly as an asset of the Academy so we can control, and again, making sure we heard externs want to be involved, how we can make sure that we get more people that we need underneath the tent and do the work that we need to do. Just a reminder, there was a survey in the e-news that went out on getting feedback from our annual meeting, our awards dinner, and any other ideas. So please finish up the survey. Thank you for those that have responded so far. We will be reviewing that and then dividing that on to further discussion and onto the board for some direction on what we do. But we want to hear back about how important, whether it's an online, an in-person, hybrid. Also, clearly on the awards dinner, we want to make this special for everyone to be involved, to build community, to ensure that we start on time, we end on time, and we heard you. We've got to get everything in order so that we have an event that everybody wants to be present at and not to be missed. And I know scheduling's difficult because there's a lot of activities that are put in while we are at NRPA. For those that are involved and need to how to get more involved, I mean, again, some easy really steps here. So I just want to go over these. Make sure your information's correct on Wild Apricot. Review the website. If you see something that's off, let us know. We'll get that corrected. We want to be accurate. Make sure you have an updated photo and bio. Make sure that what we have is accurate. If it's not, let's get it corrected. If you haven't signed up for a committee, still time to do so. Some are restricted by our bylaws and how many seats and years of service into the academy, but there's still plenty of room. Read the newsletter, stay informed, be involved with Base Camp. Pay your dues in January so we don't have to go and collect. There's first notice, second notice, so that should be easy. Done. Promote the academy and all that you do. You heard about what branding and social media, add the logo, add the specifics to your email tagline. Let's really make a difference. Let everybody know that we're here, we're active, and we're going to ascend to new heights. And then, bookmark the website, share that. Again, really, we all wear many hats. I wear many hats. But I'm proud to be a member of the Academy. I am so proud of our board and our leadership and everyone here, and we're going to make a wave of difference. So as you build your calendar, as you look, just a couple things. Remember that we will see you on the trail. We're going to do more of these to keep you involved. We want to hear back from you. Save the dates in September for NRPA. We'll be sharing more information as we make progress on our dashboards. And I just want to thank everyone for your time today. We finished 10 minutes early, and so I'll turn over the floor and open it up for anyone, and I'll stop sharing my screen, that would like to make any comments on today's meeting or any additional feedback.
Do you want to unmute everybody? If everybody's been muted. Whew! Drinking from a fire hose, Elizabeth. Good job. Any questions?
Any clarifications? Any questions? I just want to thank you. Wish everyone the happiest of holidays, whatever you're celebrating this season, and just appreciate all that you do. And thank you so much for your engagement and your stewardship.
Elizabeth, one question came up in the chat is this PowerPoint going to be posted on the all member board? So that's where you can find it.
Okay.